host, Nick Allard.
It is 50 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Ursula Royteen.
From Sunday Mariners baseball to Seahawks football, this is KIRO Radio 97.3 FM. News and talk, powered by the Pacific Northwest.
The Dori Monson Show on KIRO Radio. This is The Big Lead.
How am I going to possibly squeeze in the wealth of information and truth that I have planned for the show today? And just sit back and listen. You'll see how. Welcome to the big show, coming to you from the Carter Subaru studio and streaming on Facebook Live. I got so much news to get to. Let's not dilly-dally. Let's get right into the big lead.
The Big Lead. Breaking news.
Yeah, we just got word in the last hour that the continued destruction of mobility in Seattle runs unabated. And this one is so unfathomably baffling to me, because what we have now is gridlock downtown. I told the story. I had a meeting downtown Seattle after my radio show a couple of months ago. I get off on Union, go down to 5th Avenue, got to turn left, go one block up to maybe 7th Avenue. But I had to go one block to get to where I was going. 27 minutes to go one block in my vehicle in downtown Seattle. Now, public transit was not an option for me because, and Uber wasn't an option. I had my car here at the radio station. There's no public transit between here and where my meeting was downtown. And right after that meeting, I had another community thing that I had to get right to. But they want to destroy mobility in this region. And what is so frustrating is the people who use the city but don't live in the city. You don't have a vote on mayor, on city council. If you did, there would be more sensible people running this city, because the people out in the suburbs seem to have a lot more common sense about how things should be done, instead of the people who just believe that government should be a vessel to extract as much tax money as possible. So we've got gridlock. We're going to have, with the tunnel, limited access to get into downtown, because there used to be exits from Alaskan Way Viaduct into the middle of downtown. Those don't exist. So cars are going to have to jump off 99, and they're going to have to use surface streets. And now, in the last hour, it's been announced that Jenny Durkan has decided to take away 2 lanes, one in each direction, and parking on First Avenue, so that the precious streetcar that's $100 million over budget can continue. Our transportation specialist is Chris Sullivan, who joins us live. Good afternoon,
Hi,
sir.
Dori.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I don't get to do this very often, and I'm not talking viaduct either.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we kind of are.
I guess kind of, yeah.
We kind of are, because this, once the viaduct's down, like I said, people are going to have to use surface streets.
Correct.
And so they're reducing capacity on surface streets now.
Yeah, and First Avenue is going to be, it could be a primary place for folks to go once if they use the tunnel, but then when the tolls start on the tunnel in May or June of this year, we don't know how many people are going to divert from 99 and then use those surface streets like First Avenue. And just to reset the stage here, last year, Mayor Durkan put a halt to the First Avenue streetcar expansion.
Because it was so far over budget.
Way over budget, and no one could decide. You had King County Metro, who will be running it for the city of Seattle, say it's going to cost this much to operate. SDOT kind of monkeyed with the numbers a little bit when getting this through the city council, said it was only going to cost this much. And so she's like, listen, let's get a handle on this thing. And all of the reviews have come back and all the information is there. And the mayor has decided she wants to go forward with this at a price tag of $286 million, which is double the original estimate of $143 back in 2015.
This is unbelievable.
And some of that money, $11 to $17 million of that, is going to have to retrofit the streets under the existing streetcar lines, because the new cars that they have ordered for this expansion are too heavy for the existing roadways. for the railroad tracks. So
The streetcars they ordered did not fit on the track they laid.
No, they're actually just bigger and heavier. They would fit on the line apparently, but they're 20,000 pounds each.
Yes, and
too heavy, so they have to.
When I say don't fit, I don't mean physically in width. I mean in weight.
Correct,
yeah.
And so they're going to have to use some of this money to retrofit the lines that are already there. Which seems
that have never
interesting.
been used.
Well, they use that. Well, no, I mean we're talking about the South Lake Union end and the Capitol Hill end that basically end without going anywhere, and that's what this First Avenue streetcar is supposed to do. It's connecting those two ends, and one of the reasons why the city says nobody really uses those streetcars is because they don't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, it can't go to Capitol Hill. It just goes to Westlake and stops, or the one stops at Jackson and then goes. So if they were to connect, it would work, is what they believe, and they think the riders will come when this is connected. Now, this isn't a completely fait accompli, isn't completely done yet because of the price tag with this. They're going to have to take some time to get federal money for this, about $75 million of this. There's some federal money.
Why do people in Dubuque, Iowa have to pay for insane Seattle politicians?
Well, so that'll be a question that'll be going forward, as well as they have to try to go back to the city council now and get up to what I think $67 or so million to pay for the what is the overinflated price now. So it's not completely. I mean, the city council theoretically could say, "Oh no, it's too rich for our blood." But the way we look at things,
wait. The city council could say that something costs too much?
They could. I'm putting it out there in the universe as something that could happen. Not likely, but and so that's kind of where we are. And instead of opening in 2020, it would open in 2025. So 5 years behind, and at double the original estimate is what we're looking at now. And you know, we talked about one of the things where King County Metro said was going to cost like $24 million a year to run.
Mm-hmm.
SDOT said, no, it's only going to cost you $16. Well, they've settled on $28 million a year to run this, which it's bigger than both of those last time I checked.
Jeez.
And that's for an operating budget starting in 2025. And it would run basically from Stewart Street south to Jackson and connect the two existing
But it
rail
will
lines.
undoubtedly further gridlock down. I mean, it's so odd to me, Chris, because they're proposing all these bills. We want to put in cameras. We want to automatically find people who block the box. They say gridlock is getting too horrible in downtown Seattle. And then they say, oh, let's proceed with a $143 million over-budget package that would even further gridlock downtown. And here's somebody with the SDOT who tells us that this is actually going to make things better, which is insane.
We do expect that once the streetcar starts running along that corridor, it'll start pulling some of that desire and the need for vehicular traffic from First, because people will have that other opportunity to use it.
No, it won't. No, it won't. I mean, this guy's, he calls himself a traffic engineer, Matt Bolell. All you need is
by the way,
sense.
he was speaking at the press conference as it relates to the viaduct closure today. Mike, I think it's Balo.
Oh, Balo.
Yeah,
Okay.
Nice guy. Engineer for WashDOT though, so not exactly particularly in his wheelhouse with the city of Seattle. But you know, he knows about the traffic patterns around. So yeah, I don't want to make sure we don't mischaracterize where we are.
What department he is?
Yeah, he's with the State Department as a traffic engineer, and yeah, he knows his stuff. But we kind of asked him that kind of off topic today. Our editor Jillian did thank for her for working hard for us on that. But you kind of get the idea of what we're looking at.
It's not going to make things better though, and you don't have to be a traffic engineer. All you have to have is some common sense. It's not going to make things better in downtown Seattle because the people who drive in come in from Bellevue. They come in from Snohomish. They come up from Federal Way. They have to work in downtown, and they're not going to abandon their car because we put a stupid little streetcar on First Avenue. And then the other question I always have, who's getting stinking rich when they go $143 million over budget? Who's pocketing that money? Who's getting rich off of all of this when the taxpayers have to fork over so much? All right, we'll watch with great interest, Chris.
Just remember, though, it'll really help the folks at Seattle Central if they want to protest something. They can just catch the streetcar all the way down and make it almost a Westlake.
That's awesome.
Rather than walking down the hill.
As long as
that was low-hanging fruit and a cheap shot, but I figured you'd enjoy it.
I appreciate it. All right, Chris, thanks.
Sure.
Next up in the big league.
The big lead. Your tax dollars at work.
And down in Olympia, the thirst for your money continues as the first bill has dropped from the Democrats to try to get in income tax in the state. And we invited the sponsor of the bill, Sharon Tomiko Santos. We asked her to come on, asked her to defend how you can drop a bill that is in violation of the state constitution, how you can try to lie to the citizens and to the taxpayers by calling an income tax a capital gains tax. House Bill 1172, an act relating to assisting Washington families by improving the fairness of the state's tax system by enacting a capital gains tax. A capital gains tax is an income tax. And once again, I read stories online from other media outlets in town. I saw television stories that called it what she calls it, a capital gains tax. And once again, I am begging my brethren in the media. It is settled. It is done. That capital gains is treated as income, and income tax is unconstitutional in Washington. Why? Why does the media feel a need to give unconstitutional Democrats cover? Why do you feel like you have to provide them a protection racket? It's our job in the media to be a watchdog of government, not a lapdog. And just because these charlatans call an income tax a capital gains tax doesn't mean that the media has to. Please start calling this what it is. It is the holy grail for Democrats in our state. They want an income tax. They will stop at nothing to get it. And this is going to be a real interesting legislative session with Democrats strengthening their majorities because, man, they want billions and billions and billions more of your dollars. Next up in the big league.
The big lead. Big local.
Announcement last night that Microsoft has pledged $500 million to tackle the housing crisis in this region. And Microsoft is a private company. They don't answer. You see, this is very different from government. If government said, we're going to spend $500 million, I'd be all over it, knowing that the money's going to be wasted and given to their buddies. But Microsoft's a private company. They can do whatever they want with their money. They answer to their shareholders, not to me. Now, ironically, I was at a breakfast event this morning, and the featured speaker was a PhD economist who specializes in the housing market. And she was great. She was awesome. But she was asked, what about this Microsoft thing? And she said, well, in reality, it's going to be almost impossible to make any kind of impact because land prices so expensive around here, and the labor market, prevailing wage has skyrocketed because the unions own our politicians. And so it's become so expensive, and that's why so many of the projects that are getting built are $1 million plus condos, because it just doesn't pencil out when you have land price and labor costs like we have around here right now. So the only way they're going to be able to do this is if they do this upzoning, where they destroy neighborhoods. And man, I tell you what, in my neighborhood, Sound Transit is working on this upzoning project that will absolutely destroy the character of a neighborhood that I've loved for 30 years now. And I'm sick of the politicians and Sound Transit saying, we'll just destroy things. And I'm not alone. NIMBYism is very real. When they tried to upzone in West Seattle, the neighbor said, no, absolutely not. Because you know what? A lot of people, sorry to say this, they don't want low-income housing in their backyard because they've seen what's happened at Sandpoint. They saw that when they put low-income housing in at Sandpoint, that crime in the surrounding neighborhood skyrocketed, absolutely skyrocketed. And, people say, well, that's classist. No, it's realist. That's just the reality of things. And a lot of people are, in theory, in favor of low-income housing, but they don't want it a block from their house because they're afraid of what it will do to their neighborhood. And so as they propose this upzoning, there are all kinds of issues going on there. I find it unbelievably depressing that in a city that was a good, solid, blue-collar, working class, people had small homes, but they had small backyards. The communists on the city council, they despise private property and backyards because, I've told you this many, many times, private property rights are more than anything else the essential bedrock necessity of a free people. There's nothing more important than private property rights. And so private property is the evil, the sin, in the view of the Marxists who are on the Seattle City Council. One of them a declared Marxist. So they would love Seattle to look like European cities where nobody has a yard, if you want to go outside, you got to go in the public square and hang with the huddled masses out there. And so, hey, Microsoft, private company, they can do whatever they want. I'm sure it'll be more efficiently run than if government were to spend $500 million. But I also know, and I'm telling you right now, the only way this is going to work is if there is all the region here. Brad Smith was on Seattle's morning news today.
The truth is, even on the money that and first thing we have to do is help everybody understand the gravity and just share the problem.
Well, in other words, I'm just going to try to work with government to get that upzoning, and neighbors aren't going to want that. Neighbors aren't going to like that. But still, private company making an investment, I'd much rather they do it than you and me as taxpayers. But we'll see how it'll turn out because it is going to be a challenge for the $500 million to be well spent. That is your big lead for today.
The Big Lead on KIRO Radio.
They had a record number of murders in Yakima and Yakima County. And a lot of you had theories as to why. Well, I'm going to have a chance to ask the sheriff of Yakima, the interim sheriff, because I want to know if this is at all attached to some policies that Jay Inslee has been pushing around here. Details next when the sheriff joins me on the Dori Monson Show.
This hour of the Dori Monson Show is brought to you by Insulation Northwest.
The all-new Candy, Mike, and Todd Show.
How do you want to be remembered when you die? Get cremated and then something cool happened like this. This is vinyl.
Yeah.
Taking your ashes and then pressing them into your favorite song so your friends can hear you.
Yeah.
So you can annoy your friends in the afterlife.
The Candy, Mike, and Todd Show. Illuminating everything. Today at 3 on KIRO Radio 97.3 FM. News and talk. Powered by the Pacific Northwest.
Everyone knows Evergreen Ford and Evergreen Chevrolet have the best deals on new Fords and Chevys. But during the giant used car sale, Evergreen's lots are packed with over 250 East Side trades. These are in-demand trades, too. Clean, well taken care of, priced to sell fast. They have Range Rovers, Audis, BMWs, Teslas, Ford, Chevys, Lincolns, Toyotas, Hondas, Acuras. You know who's bought used car at Evergreen Ford Chevy? My wife. You know who else? My middle daughter. You know who else? My youngest daughter. See, I don't just tell you about the company. We live it. My kids, my wife, we've spent our family's money because the value is there at Evergreen Ford. They take great care of their customers. They have over 50 cars under $99.95. They have over 20 under $59. 95, including a BMW. Check it out. Go to evergreenford.com, Evergreen Chevrolet as well, or as always, exit 15, I-90, Issaquah. Sale ends 131.19. Negotiable dock service fee of $150 may be added to purchase price. Fins posted at dealership. See dealer for details.
Imagine a financial partner committed to better tomorrows. I'm John Ramsire with Baird in Seattle. Whether we're providing advice for families, municipalities, and schools across the U.S., or companies around the world, our focus is on making the future brighter. And that commitment goes beyond the business we do. It's why we give back, as a firm and individuals, in the communities we serve.
Imagine the power of you and Baird. Visit BairdSeattle.com.
Hey, Jason Rance here for Evolve 180 Weight Loss. It's this simple. You are now feeling motivated thanks to your New Year's resolution to lose the weight. But the problem is you need some help. No, you're not going to be able to get motivated by reading a book for more than a week. You need a team on your side that stays up to date on the cutting edge science behind weight loss. Whether it's the keto diet, how to incorporate dairy and MCT oil, or intermittent fasting, Evolve180weightloss.com has you covered. This is not a one-size-fits-all pre-packaged hit your goal or lose your investment diet. Evolve 180 builds a custom plan for you. Evolve180weightloss.com is all about the science, the coaching, and the compassion to make this the most fun, affordable, and successful weight loss program you have ever tried. So as you search for the perfect plan to lose the weight, make sure you meet with Evolve180weightloss.com. Your one-on-one private consultation is absolutely free. Evolve180weightloss.com. That's Evolve180weightloss.com.
If you're even considering LASIK this year, put January 23rd on your calendar right now, because Dr. King will be hosting a free Lunch and Learn live webinar. Dr. King will teach you everything you need to know about LASIK, and everyone who watches will get $1,000 off the procedure. Dr. King's the most trusted and experienced surgeon in the Northwest, so register now for King LASIK's live webinar with Dr. King, January 23rd at noon. You'll save $1,000 just for watching. Register now at kinglasik.com.
If you have a yard or maybe a field, you may plan on digging in it. Perhaps you want to put in a swimming pool, add a super awesome barbecue pit, or bury a comically large chest of pirate booty. But before you dig, you should know that there are buried pipelines in lots of places, maybe even under your own little patch of green. If you dig and hit one of these pipelines, it could cause a leak, and that could cause serious problems.
Sorry.
So before you find buried pipelines with a shovel or a backhoe, find them with a phone. Call 811 before you dig to have any buried lines located and marked at no charge. Remember, before you dig for any reason, be it construction, a sprinkler system, or tunneling your way to sweet, sweet freedom, call 811 first. For more on pipeline safety, visit pipelineawareness.org. A message from Cascade Natural Gas, in the community to serve.
Hartley out at Wilcox Farms talking to her grandpa.
Papa, is it true you rode your bike all the way across the country?
I sure did. From Los Angeles to Boston, going across a couple of mountain ranges and going across a lot of states.
And didn't you go snow skiing a bunch last year?
Yes, your grandma and I skied 55 days last year, and this year we'll probably do more.
Wow, how old are you again?
Not as old as my age.
How do you and Grandma do it? I bet you eat a lot of eggs.
We sure do. We stay active and eat very healthy, always choosing omega-3 eggs for all the healthy benefits.
Like strong bones, healthy joints, and heart.
Exactly. But Hartley, could you do me a favor?
Sure.
Talk to your dad about getting me a family discount on the Wilcox omega-3 eggs.
Consider it done. Love you, Grandpa.
Love you too, Hartley.
Find Wilcox Farm Fresh omega-3 eggs at QFC, Costco, Fred Meyer, and Safeway.
Great prices and old-fashioned service for brakes, mufflers, radiators, check engine light, and oil changes at the 16 Buc-ee's complete auto repair locations. No appointment needed. Check Buc-ee's.com.
Now, from the KIRO Radio Newsroom and MyNorthwest.com.
As the government shutdown continues, 2 sick, endangered orcas are at risk of not getting much-needed help. The Lummi Nation and veterinarians cannot help orcas K25 and J17, who appear thinner than usual because possibly they are suffering from some kind of disease or they lack food. The Seattle Times reports the tribe has appealed to the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, but NOAA is affected by this shutdown. The orcas are 2 of just 75 that remain in the Puget Sound. It is day 27 of the partial government shutdown. Neither the president and Republicans nor Democrats are budging on the border wall issue, as we hear from CBS's Paula Reed.
There have been no tangible, successful negotiations in the past week. There's absolutely no indication that any progress has been made to get us any closer to ending this shutdown.
President Trump is standing firm on his demand for $5.7 billion for a border wall, and Democrats won't approve border security funding if a wall is part of it. In Los Angeles, some of music's biggest acts took to the stage last night at a sold-out tribute concert in honor of the late Chris Cornell. The Seattle songwriter and frontman of Soundgarden, Audio Slave, and Temple of the Dog died by suicide in 2017. Jimmy Kimmel hosted the 5-hour tribute last night. The event was organized by Cornell's wife, Vicky. On Wall Street right now, the Dow is up by 137 points. It's at 24,344. Let's check back in with Kimmy Klein now with our KIRO Radio real-time traffic.
Well, in Renton, things are pretty difficult earlier. We had an accident northbound 405 at Northeast 30th. It's clear to the exit ramp and the shoulder of that exit ramp, so things are definitely improving, but still kind of sketchy. Northbound 405 leaving the Maple Valley Highway and on southbound 405 from almost Coal Creek Parkway towards that scene, but things are getting better. Seattle traffic, that's slow south on I-5 between Lake City Way and the Ship Canal. Northbound 5 is heavy around the Michigan Curve to I-90, and eastbound on the West Seattle Bridge is still busy, too, from at least Highway 99 right up to I-5. But in Tacoma, we had a stalled vehicle briefly. South 5 at 38, that's cleared out of the way, but still kind of busy west of Olympia on southbound 101 from Steamboat Island Road towards just south of Highway 8, where there's some road work happening this afternoon till about 3. KIRO Radio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Kimmy Klein.
Our traffic is brought to you by the Emerald Queen Casino. Here's a good idea. Spend Valentine's Day with Air Supply. Get your tickets today for Air Supply on February 14th, only at the Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
We'll look for temps in the low 50s, so it's a mild day. We'll see some breezy conditions here and there, becoming windy later today and tonight, and also increasing rain. So during the day, on again, off again, showers, but then you'll see increasing rain for the evening commute. I'm KIRO 7 Pinpoint meteorologist Nick Allard.
It is cloudy and 52 degrees outside the Carter Subaru Studios. I'm Ursula Royteen.
From Everett to Eastlake, this is KIRO Radio 97.3 FM. News and talk, powered by the Pacific Northwest.
Well, if you were listening a couple of days ago, I was talking about the story in the Seattle Times, and, we're dealing with so much crime here in the Puget Sound area that, we've talked about all the causal reasons for that, and it certainly extends beyond our neck of the woods. Over in Yakima, the city and the county, they had their highest homicide total in 38 years. The interim police chief there is Gary Jones. He joins us here on KIRO Radio. Chief, I appreciate you coming on with me this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
So what's going on with all the murders over there in Yakima?
Yeah, certainly a trend we're not happy about or proud of, and don't expect our community members to be content with it. These are numbers we've been following. One of the strange things of having 17 homicides in our city of about 100,000 is the different types of homicides that they were. If we could just relate it to one, violent offender type, that may help some of our analysis and even enforcement. But in this case, we've had quite a division of different types of homicides, and making it a little more problematic.
So are there some trend lines? Because I toss this out to my listeners, a lot of whom are far more familiar with your city and county than I. And a lot of my listeners thought it was very obvious that there would be a through line for a majority of these. And they said that it's just a tremendous gang and drug problem there.
Yeah, which can be exclusive of each other. I mean, it's reasonable to believe that gang members are involved in the drug trade, but not all drug trade people are gang members. So they can be exclusive of each other. So that's one of the designations that we've had this year. In fact, 2 of the homicides did involve a drug transaction of some type, and there was no indication of gang activity, which doesn't obviously help the victims or the family at all, but it does help us look at the analysis part. There is a gang presence here, and we've been working on it a number of years, but we have not found the aptitude of gang violence that we would expect in these homicide numbers. Again, it was divided basically in three different manners with some gang violence